Hello, everyone. I want to talk about a video that, quite frankly, reminds me why I exist, why I have chosen the profession that I have chosen. And this video is out of Wisconsin involving officers that just do not do the legal right thing. They don't understand the rules of engagement, clearly. And it's going to end up costing the taxpayers close to $1 million. And it could have been all avoided if they knew the rules of engagement or attended a blue to gold class. Guys, my name is Anthony Bandiero. I'm an attorney and senior legal instructor for Blue to Gold. So just to kind of tee this up, here's what so we have some protesters, and this video is a little old, from 2020, but we just learned that the settlement occurred recently. And there's some protesters in this neighborhood, and they allegedly upset this woman who I think is trying to sleep. That's what I kind of glean from this case. And to just give you a little context. So she comes out of her house and she pushes a 17-year-old kid, and I also believe she spit in the kid's face. Now, this could be a felony in some states, right? You know, biofluids and so forth. I understand that, but let's just kind of keep the doctrines in mind here, right? So we're going to go step by step what doctrines the officers are dealing with and how do they get to where they're at. Okay? All right. So let's kind of start the video and see where we're at.
This is the chick that did the spitting on the kid's face.
Surveillance video takes us to the home of Stephanie Rapkin on June 7th, 2020.
What's going on? Is that him over
We
there?
witnessed him, we have on video.
Okay.
She came out, she was friends with Jade, she pushed him.
Officers respond to an assault complaint from a small group of protesters gathered outside.
You people are so incredibly stupid, it isn't funny.
You spit on a 17-year-old kid.
This man tells officers Rapkin came out of her home and shoved him. She then went inside her home and locked the door.
What happens if she doesn't come out?
We're working on that.
All right. So far, so good, right? We have a call for service. We have, it's just a semi-serious case. I mean, if somebody spit on you, you wouldn't be too happy about it. We also have probable cause for her arrest because this witness actually has the conversation between him and her. You know, he says that you spit on a 17-year-old kid. You know, she doesn't deny it. So right now we have probable cause for a battery. Where I come from, this is not an assault. This is actually the battery. An assault is where you threaten a battery. Where I come from, a battery is when you actually put hands on people. But I've heard it, some states call it an assault. But regardless, we have that. We also likely have at least PC for the spitting part. I'm sure the victim is there too. We corroborate that and we're good to go. So now the next move is let's go do a knock and talk.
Stephanie, it's the police. Please come to the door.
Officers pounded on her door for about 30 minutes, making it clear to each other they were here to arrest her,
If she comes out, arrest her.
with no mention of obtaining a warrant.
Okay, that's going to be our first problem, okay? This is going to be the first indication that these officers do not know the rules of engagement. If they would have attended our advanced search and seizure class, we talk about this very issue. The first thing is that what is a knock and talk? A knock and talk is essentially a consensual encounter. It's no different legally than going up to a person on the street and saying, as a police officer, saying, hello, sir, ma'am, can I talk to you? If they say no, fine, unless you have reasonable suspicion. If they say yes, fine. We talk to them, engage them in a consensual manner. The problem, though, is that it gets a little tricky when you're dealing with homes. So generally, courts will allow you to approach a door at a reasonable hour, knock briefly, wait to be received, and if unanswered, leave, right? Because if it's unanswered after you've knocked, then that's an indication that either A, they don't want to talk to you, or B, they're not there to receive you, so you have to leave. Because when you are on curtilage, that's another issue going on here. Curtilage, when you're on curtilage, you have to mind your P's and Q's, your pints and quarts. In other words, when you're on curtilage, in many ways, it's almost like you're inside their home. Not exactly, but it is protected like the home itself. So what gives you the right the authority to actually go onto a person's curtilage. It's called an implied license. An implied license is where you reasonably believe that the person would be receptive to an uninvited guest. You are an uninvited guest. They did not invite you. They did not call you and say, police officer, come over to my house. But you're also a guest, meaning that you have a reason to believe that they would want to talk to you. And so far, so good. There's no reason to believe that they wouldn't want to clear this matter up. Maybe it wasn't them. Maybe they want to, hell, maybe they want to submit to the arrest and kind of get it over with, or give their side of the story. Maybe they felt insulted. Whatever it is, we have an implied license to go up to the house, knock briefly, wait to be received, and if unanswered, leave. But they didn't do that. Okay? Two problems here. Number one, they're going there solely to arrest her. You got to be careful with that, okay? You got to be careful with basically being very, just being like boldly saying, we're going to that house and knock on that door to arrest them. Well, if you're going there to arrest them, is that an implied license to arrest them? Do you think that they want to be arrested in their home? Right? I mean, the implied license is there to go have a consensual encounter. In other words, you cannot do things that are outside that implied license. So that's our first problem. And a good case is at the Ninth Circuit. You can take it for what you want, but it's called Rolando Brazula versus the City of Sparks. And that's where the court said that, you don't have a right to just go up there into people's curtilage and arrest them unless you have exigent circumstances. And that's what we teach at Blue to Gold. But even regardless of that issue, which can be a little debatable, okay, they were allegedly at that person's door for a half an hour. That is going to contradict what the Supreme Court said in a case called Hardinus, which is the knock and talk is only for that purpose of trying to contact them. And if they don't answer, you got to leave. So that's my other issue. Let's continue.
Called me about 20 minutes ago.
A neighbor then tells one officer that Rapkin took a sleeping pill 12 hours earlier.
I know she took a dose this morning, and then probably another couple of doses because she couldn't get to sleep. So
she's taking multiple doses of sleeping medication?
I don't know. She might.
Police decide they're going to break into the locked home to do a welfare check.
Now, this is where you say to yourself, what the fuck? Okay? What the fuck are and yes, I'm cursing on purpose. What the fuck are these officers doing here? Okay? There is no excuse for this. Zero. Okay? I'm very sympathetic to officers making mistakes, but what's going on here is inexcusable. Okay? You have officers saying that allegedly, based on what we see here, okay, and they paid out money on this, so it seems about, unless you show me that they were doing something else, but you have officers saying, hey, she's taking sleeping pills, she's not answering the door, therefore she must be in some kind of medical emergency. That is BS. This country, unfortunately, is doped up on pills every single day, and if your criteria for community caretaking, which we're going to talk about in a second, but some kind of emergency is people are taking pills and they're dead of sleep, well then everybody's getting the door kicked in because this country is addicted to prescription pills. But the other issue is that community caretaking and that's where I'm going to give these officers a little slack here, okay? Community caretaking is a doctrine that used to apply to homes until the Supreme Court said that it doesn't in a case called Caniglia versus Strom. But the problem, in Vista Caniglia, the court said that community caretaking doesn't apply because you need exigency. It's not community caretaking, it's the emergency aid doctrine. In other words, do these officers have an objective reason to believe that somebody in that house needs or wants immediate attention, medical attention, or civil commitment, and so forth? But even then, guys, even if you're operating off the old standard of community caretaking, we're just here to help, this is not going to work. We do not kick people's doors in just because a neighbor said they took a sleeping pill 12 hours prior and they're likely sleeping. It doesn't work, okay? There is no objective reason to believe that this person is in some kind of medical distress and so forth. And this is inexcusable. Somebody on scene should have been, hey, look, before you boot that door with your government shoe, you need to time out for a second And this is not over what? I understand that, this person needs to face justice, but there is no exigency at all. So let's continue.
And several officers
Stephanie, police!
enter with service weapons drawn. Body camera video shows Rapkin walk down the stairs.
Gentlemen, do you have a warrant?
We're here for a community caretaker, okay?
Community caretaker, I'm perfectly fine. I am sleeping.
Where she was arrested in her dining room.
Turn around for her. Put your money back. Thank you.
You're gonna arrest me in my own home? No.
Don't start.
Don't.
Got it. Yep, I got it, Russ.
For sleeping in my own home?
No, for assaulting an individual outside.
Then a scuffle ensues.
And I can't survivor.
What is your problem? Relax.
I'm a
Relax.
survivor.
Okay, well, you don't knee me in my groin. You understand me? What is wrong with you?
Holly, did she strike you?
Yep, she did. Battery to an officer.
Rapkin was escorted out of her home
Great, you broke open my door.
No, but you weren't answering us.
to an applause from protesters outside as she's put in the patrol vehicle. After the arrest, Rapkin, an attorney herself, hired lawyers to file a federal civil rights lawsuit. Her attorney, James Odell, says the case is all about a violation of the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government.
I don't need her attorney to tell you what the problem is. I'm telling you what the problem is, right? So at the end of the day, she settled this case for $760,000. One of the largest settlements in Wisconsin history, not involving an OIS and so forth. So it's pretty serious. And the thing is, like, look, I'm not trying to be hard on these officers. What I'm trying to be hard on is you got to know the rules of engagement. And you also got to be able to, like, did not one officer on scene, even in 2020, think to themselves, you know what, maybe this is not right. Kicking in her door based on these facts, the thin veil of justification of she could be dying in there because she took a sleeping pill and she's not answering the door. I mean, come on, right? Do you really feel good about that one? Are you going to be kicking in doors every time somebody takes a sleeping pill 12 hours prior and doesn't answer the door for you, right? No. Now, at the same time, a lot of these cases are like, it feels good, right? It does feel good to get your bad guy. And certainly, I don't defend her actions on spitting on somebody and so forth. It feels good to kind of get in there and be like, you know what, I've been knocking on the door for half an hour, you're under arrest and so forth. It feels good to get and then everybody's clapping and everybody supports the police. But at the end of the day, this is going to just cause tremendous litigation. And if it would have resulted in an OIS, if this sleeping attorney would have come downstairs with a gun because she heard a bump in the night type deal, and she would have been popped by the police, how many commas would that have added to the check, right? The point is, guys, it's another reminder to slow your roll, okay? Know what the law is. Know when you should force your way into a home versus when you should slow roll it and get that judge on the phone and say, Your Honor, I need your permission to go get a bad guy and wake them up from their slumber, right? And don't stretch the rules on things like here, which I really do believe if you would have talked to them, probably, personally, they probably would have been a little bit more frank about, she's probably not dying in there, but, we just want to make sure she's okay type of logic in order to get access to her. So we have a knock and talk violation because they knocked on that door for 30 minutes. That's not a knock and talk. Also, with the intent to arrest is problematic. We have a community caretaking violation because community caretaking does not apply to homes. You need exigency, and there is no exigency here, even though you have PC. PC is not exigency. And that is why I love my job. Not because I like seeing officers fail. I do not. I hate it. But I love officers win and do the right thing. And I'm trying to get ahead of these issues. And I just wish that maybe if these officers would have attended my class, they would have not done this. And would have saved themselves a little heartache. Sometimes when I think about what I do out there, and it's hard to measure what I do because I'm trying to prevent things. How many of these situations have I prevented? I don't know. Well, I do know I've prevented a few because I've talked to officers who said, hey, Anthony, I was going to go into that house, but after your class, I decided not to. And I said to them, It's good that you didn't, because it would have been problematic if you would have went in. But the point is, guys, slow it down. Think about this. And if you see this video, hopefully this is good training. I know these officers, I've made my mistakes too. This one is a little egregious in my view. It should have never happened, but that's all I have to say about it. If you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Until next time, my friends, stay safe.